Hello and welcome to my world. I'm of course Redcast, and as you know, 7 nights a week I stream live over on Twitch playing a variety of video games. The link to my Twitch channel can be found in the description below. Recently, we dedicated an entire stream to Nickelodeon Kart Racers, which is of course a little racing game based on Nickelodeon original characters and one additional. That came out in October of 2018. This game is 2 years old at this point, and its sequel just recently came out here in October of 2020. So it's fairly topical to make this a topic of discussion here, and you know me, I always struggle to come up with ideas for these weekly commentaries. Anyway, the original Nickelodeon Kart Racers is a standard racing game taking some influence from Mario Kart 8 in terms of how the racing mechanics work. It's primarily you're on land and on sea, or in this case slime, and your vehicle transforms back and forth between the two. Occasionally you will go to the air for like brief gliding segments, but for the most part you're basically staying on the ground. In terms of difficulty against the AI, it's not too hard. There are three difficulty settings: beginner, regular, and hard. And if you are looking to complete any achievements, complete every cup series of races, and in terms of achievements and things of that nature, you will basically learn the ins and outs of every course and learn like where to drift and things of that nature pretty quickly. The AI is not the brightest in the world, but even on its hardest difficulties, but even then it can surprise you with how devious it can be and how unfair it can be in terms of the AI getting various power-ups that can knock you through a loop. This game definitely relies on rubber banding, making sure that you, the player, do not get too far ahead of the AI to make sure every race is competitive to the very end. That's even true on the easiest difficulties. You will never at any point in time get too far ahead unless you get a whole string of good luck there that basically allows you to toss things behind you to basically delay the other racers. In terms of how it looks, game is definitely a budget title. It is very, it looks nice, but you can definitely tell that this game was almost essentially a low priority for the actual developers. The same can be said for the music, and also the distinct lack of voiceovers basically make sure that this game has like nothing was really put into it to give it as much polish as possible. The lack of voiceovers is really disturbing because when you think you have a colorful collection of characters and personalities that are represented within this game, that the trash talking between them would have been pretty comical. Probably would get a little bit grating after a period of time, but one would assume that Angelica Pickles from Rugrats would have been the biggest trash talker in the game in terms of mocking opponents and or crying out it's not fair when somebody passes her, or when she gets hit with a one of the game's various power-ups. Now, obviously, we just mentioned Angela Pickles, and again, she's from the Rugrats franchise, and she is joined by Reptar and Tommy Pickles, also from that franchise. Also, the other franchises are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 2012 variant of Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael. Hey Arnold is represented by Arnold and Helga, and SpongeBob SquarePants is represented by SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy. You'll notice that the Ninja Turtles has the most characters in the game with 4, and Hey Arnold only has 2 characters. So I'm guessing they're, again, clearly a budget title, not much not much money was invested in this game in terms of how it looks. So the character roster is very limited and even questionable. Now, I can obviously see why Sandy was selected over Squidward from SpongeBob SquarePants, mainly because you needed another female character in this game. There are only 3 female characters in it: Sandy, Angelica, and Helga. In it, all the other characters are male, and whatever the hell Reptar is. Because, it's a lizard. We don't know what gender it is. But so you completely understand why the representation is, those character selections are what they are. But when you look at something representing Rugrats, why you got Reptar in there over Chucky, it greatly raises an eyebrow there. And because the Ninja Turtles have 4 characters, one could assume that a character from Hey Arnold, a third character from that show, probably was off the table as well. So maybe this game initially was supposed to be released with 4 different franchises having 3 characters each. But again, Ninja Turtles being what they are, having 4 recognizable characters, and the Ninja Turtles is an evergreen, no pun intended, franchise in terms of always drawing a fan base. It just raises questions about what went into the thought process there for the number of characters that were selected. Courses. There are 8 distinct courses, and in terms of how they are ran, they are normally run with 3 different variants. 4, maybe 5, depending on what type of race is being done, and if you're doing the cup challenges. You run the courses in their normal routes. There is a reverse route variant, and there is also the slime track variants. The slime track takes advantage of the fact that this game basically does use vehicles transforming from standard carts to jet skis. There are at various points in time, there are gliding segments where if your vehicle is being launched into the air, it will transform into a hang glider. A lot of these mechanics you definitely see in the far superior Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but for the purposes of this particular game, everything works out rather nicely. When racing against the AI, the difficulty definitely scales depending on your settings. There are easy, regular, and hard. Regardless of your difficulty setting, this game does definitely rely on rubber banding in terms of never letting the player get too far ahead of the computer opponents, depending on the various circumstances. There are power-ups, pickups, that some of which you can get tossed behind you, so you can disrupt your other racers and knock them back a bit. But there are quite a few power-ups that can be used to go after the player that is in first place. Every character has their own distinct special power-up, some of which again definitely go after the person that is in first place, and some of them boost speed or do other various little gimmicks, make you invulnerable, give you a bit of flight, and so forth. There are various unlockables to make make your vehicles even faster, give you better speed, get better handling, traction, and so forth. And there are achievements geared towards unlocking everything. This game definitely has a big drawback in terms of there is no online multiplayer. Again, this game came out in 2018. The lack of an online multiplayer in a game that recent is very, very disappointing. I understand that is a feature that is in the sequel that just came out here in 2020, and I've already ordered the sequel. I'm ordered the physical version of it, so I look forward to seeing how that works out and seeing what improvements were made between that and the game that we did and that we're talking about today. In terms of recommending it, if everything that's being said about the sequel is true, that it is going to be bigger, better than the original, I'd say this is a game that you definitely want to skip unless you are an achievement hunter. Otherwise, pick it up. It's like you can knock out virtually all the achievements pretty much on your own. It took me a week of standard casual play to get just about everything knocked out. The only achievement I did not knock out completely complete this game and 100% is a multiplayer achievement that involves going into the arena battle mode, which is your standard pick up power ups, launch and defeat your opponent or hit your opponent X amount of times to eliminate them or win. It does have 4-player local co-op, so I'm assuming standard split screen, and it has a standard split screen format. But again, multiplayer achievements in games like this, where there is no online play, definitely becomes a bit tedious to even grind out. But still, if you're looking for a cheap game or something or other, yeah, you could do a lot worse. And it's a fun little kart racer all in all. Anyway, that will wrap up this little commentary review and so forth. Coming up over my Twitch channel in this upcoming week, we'll be taking a crack at Final Fantasy 15 Comrades, which is the multiplayer add-on for Final Fantasy 15. We'll be doing that with my good friend Luna Princess this tomorrow on Saturday. Overwatch, we'll be continuing Stranger Things 3 the game, and also we'll be doing Star Trek Online. And we'll probably be starting up and taking a crack at things like Among Us and other things this week as well. So, until next time, my friends, and you are my friends, please subscribe, tighten your friendship bracelet, stay safe, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.